All right, hello, baseball fans. It is 10:31 p.m. Is it 10:31? Yep, 10:31 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and we're back again. So MV did a ball game today. I think he actually did a doubleheader in the Shanks League. There's Carlos Yaz. Good to see you, Carlos. Let me put my mic up here a little bit better. Caps are. It's okay, man. Don't worry about it. It's all good. So make sure to check that out. MV last week when he was trying to reboot from a cricket game that blew up accidentally had silenced me on his channel. Just broadcasting for a little bit because the screen share wasn't working. I was kind of in a different mic. It's a long, sad story. Anyhow, make sure to check that out, managers, if you have one, and even if you don't. Some fun games. So the Detroit and what's it called? The at Mill Boston Braves. So Atlanta, Milwaukee, Boston Braves. Yeah, that was something. So this thing is something kind of put together by Ken Castro and I. Okay, so you caught the second game. Your nap last. No such thing as a nap that lasts too long, Carlos. Not at all. So this is the Castro McGregor Legends League, whatever. This is not the next Ned McGreevy, but it certainly does take it encompasses at the same time even a little bit further. So you're going to see actually tonight be I think the first time on anywhere in the YouTube sports gaming community a team from the 1870s. So it should be fun. We go back. This game goes back to 1871. The earliest team we will have is one that baseball historians should know. I'm not going to see them in action tonight. The 1875 Boston Red Stockings. JT Dutch, all is going well, my friend, and it is great to see you. As Carlos Yaz is saying, he's replaying the 1903 season and loving it. Yay! All right, just started replaying it. So it's always gratifying to see people reaching back and into the days of old. So a few notes about this league quickly before we actually get to the ballparks, or get to the ballpark, I should say, and hopefully the ballpark assignments worked. I don't know. We'll see. So we selected 15 teams from the dead ball era and 15 from the 19th century. So they're each kind of in their own division, if you will. So there's going to be some interdivisional play. Obviously, because of rule changes in baseball prior to 1893, don't expect a lot of accuracy because we have this normalized to 1900. So not doing a season replay here, obviously. I know Action PC Baseball, if you play pitch by pitch, will actually take into account the ball strike rules or whatever rules of the day as much as you can. So this is more to just see some of these players, and I think it'll be a lot of fun in the Action PC tournament when we played two in the Ken Castro tournament. Two of the teams were pre-modern baseball, the 1885 White Stockings and the 1884 Providence Grays, and they did very well. We'll see how things work out in the out-of-the-park edge. It'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully, cousin Ken Castro will come in because I promised tonight 19th century as opposed to a dead ball game. So tonight we will have the 1879 Buffalo Bisons versus the 1888 New York Giants. And it's going to be Pud Galvin for Buffalo against, what a name, Cannonball. Cannonball Tickham taking this wouldn't be the mound yet, so we'll just say taking the pitcher's box for the New York Giants. So let's go. Fingers crossed. So for a lot of people, just so you don't feel badly, there's going to be a lot of names on here that I don't know either. So this is, while I've studied 19th century baseball, I haven't studied to the extent that I have dead balls, 20s, 30s, 40s, and so on. So there's going to be some names here I don't know, and hopefully cousin Ken will be able to help. Looking at these two teams, though, wow. I mean, the Giants are just looking like a powerhouse here. But again, just starting out, this is opening day, continues, so I try to find some fun matchups. All right, so 1903, the year of the first modern World Series. Pittsburgh Pirates, Boston Americans, Red Sox. And the Buccos lost that one 5-3, 5 games to 3. The Hannes Wagner playing injured in that, and of course, as Tommy Leach bemoaned, that damn Tessie song, which the Dropkick Murphys have modernized and updated. So good stuff. You only recognize two. I recognize a few. So like Hardy Richardson, for instance, because he was in our McGreevy League. So let's look at these lineups, and we'll go. For the guys, if I know a little bit about them, I'll at least mention if there's something I know offhand. But again, this is more Ken Castro's wheelhouse. This is going to be it's going to be fun to see how the AI handles these teams, because you didn't have relievers. Frequently, you maybe had 3 pitchers on the entire staff, and when you're in the 1870s, the pitcher is still largely the least important, not to the extent that he was in the 1840s and 50s, but or even 1860s, but still not how we think of it today. So this is going to be a very different game, even though it's got to impose modern rules. But always been interested to see how Out of the Park does this far back. Yep. So Roger Connor, JT Dutch knows, he recognizes our Mike Tiernan, Buck Ewing, and Pud Galvin. Okay, I know a few more. Hardy Richardson. So leading off for Buffalo, third base, Hardy Richardson. Batting second in right field, Bill Crowley. Batting third and catching, John Clapp. Batting cleanup at first base. I should just say batting fourth, actually. At first base, Oscar Walker. Batting fifth, left field, Joe Horning. Batting sixth, a name I recognize at shortstop, Davey Force. Batting seventh, second baseman Chuck Fulmer. Batting eighth, another name I recognize, not that I necessarily know a lot about these players, Dave Egler in center field, and Pud Galvin, of course, pitching and batting ninth. For the hometown New York Giants, I recognize more of these guys. So leading off in left field, George Gore. Batting second in center field, George Slattery. Batting third, one that JT and I recognize, Mike Tiernan. In right field, batting fourth, baseball's first home run king, Roger Connor at first. Batting fifth, a great catcher, Buck Ewing. Batting sixth at second base, Danny Richardson. Batting seventh, third base, Art Whitney. Batting eighth at shortstop, Gil Hatfield. And batting ninth, you gotta love it, Cannonball Titcomb. So it's anybody's guess how this is even going to go, but let's have fun. All right, and looks like it kept the park assignments. It's a very early. The Polo Grounds actually goes back to the 1890s, so these Giants would not have played in this park, but it works. All right. So leading off here for Buffalo is Hardy Richardson. And Cannonball Titcomb is ready to deal as we do a little bit of a pan around of the earliest model of Polo Grounds. And again, thanks to Mike Silva for his great work for these old ballparks. And some of the others we just see are from another user. Anyhow, this one, Hardy Richardson, high fly, ball to left field, and making the catch is Slattery. So score that one in F8, 1 up, 1 down. And here is Bill Crowley. There is Christopher Slovic and World's Worst Gaming. So you recognize 4 off the 2 rosters. Michael, yes, thank you. And Michael, I sent you a friend request and Discord. So yeah, once we can do that, we can get to chatting. But yeah, Texags, there he is. So guys, here we are, stepping with no degree of intrepidity. I wish I was Mr. Spock. He said it properly. We are in the 19th century, and we're actually playing a team from the 1870s and another team from the 1880s. So again, the game engine is going to impose modern baseball rules on this because it's a fictional league. But let's just have fun with it. All right, here's left fielder Bill Crowley. And again, this Polo Grounds, one of the myriad ballparks designed by the man in the chat, Michael Silva. All right, left-hander Cannonball Titcomb, and I love that name, Cannonball. The 1-1 pitch now to Bill Crowley, and Crowley swings this one lined right to short. Hatfield making the catch and saying, I'm glad there's not a McCoy on the other side, or the shooting would start. Here is catcher John Clapp. 2 down, top of the first, the 3-2 pitch to Clapp. And this one lined to center field, but it looks like this one is going to stay up. And camping under it and making the catch is Slattery for the last out of the inning. So the Bisons of 1879 go in order, and we go to the bottom of the first. It's Buffalo nothing, and the New York Giants coming to bat. So you can see even with the count that it's keeping, it's going to be post. It'd be 1893, so post 1893 baseball. All right. So George Gore, a name I do recognize, leads off left fielder for the New York Giants. Pud Galvin, of course, is a name I think everybody would know. Here's the 3-1 pitch to Gore. And so Gore takes inside, ball 4. And anyhow, it's all about the fantasy of it and how would these guys do. And since this is normalized to 1900 modern baseball, I think it'll be fun. George Gore with great speed at first. Here's Mike Slattery, center fielder. Galvin has the sign from John Clapp. Here's the pitch, and Slattery sends this little pop fly out into shallow left, and Hardy Richardson making the grab there near third base. So out number 1, George Gore goes nowhere, and here is Mike Tiernan, a well-known player from the 19th century. Galvin checks the speedy Gore at first. Here's the pitch. Tiernan swings this one, just a little comebacker to the mound, and they're going to go for the lead runner. And how about that? So Galvin goes to second, gets the lead runner, and Mike Tiernan now is at first. So Gore is out of there, fielder's choice, but the hard slide, upending shortstop Davey Force. And man, where's Ken Castro when you need him? This is getting scary. So JT Dutch saying, Michael Silva, can't tell you how much I appreciate the work you've done in the ballparks. Many, many thanks to you. How about it? Texag said, Steve T told me how to take a screenshot, download MLB The Show 23 stadiums. Got about halfway through today, getting all of them. They're coming out awesome. I have to learn to do that because, you know, even with all that, the advertising on there, what I would do, I don't know how to do it yet, but download those MLB The Show parks, then go into Photoshop and just put in different advertising and stuff like that, or maybe actually put it into Blender or do some cheating or whatever, and using the ballpark creator. I think would be a lot of fun too. So yeah, everybody loves you, Michael. What can I say? Christopher Slovic, who does these mammoth tournaments. Your ballparks are all over the place. You have made such a mark in this community and others. So there we go. It's the Michael Silva ballpark love fest, if you will. All right, 2 down, and it's all genuine, my friend. Mike Tiernan, good leadoff first, 2 down, and here is the man who held the all-time lifetime home run record until some guy named Ruth came along and broke it. Here's Roger Connor, big man too. You can look at some pictures of him, huge dude. Galvin delivers the 0-1, and the runner goes. Tiernan got such a great jump that Clapp just holds on to the ball. So Tiernan takes second uncontested. Pud Galvin now checks the speedy Tiernan. I wouldn't be surprised to see him going to third. Here's the 2-2 to Roger Connor. Connor swings and hard grounder to first, and up with the ball is Walker firing to Galvin, covering first, and Roger Connor's retired. So the Giants get a walk, leave a runner in scoring position. We go to the second, and we are scoreless here at the Polo Grounds. So Oscar Walker will lead it off. Oscar Walker is the first baseman for the Buffalo Bisons. Cannonball Tickham ready to deliver, getting the sign from Buck Ewing, and here's the 0-1 delivery to Walker. Walker swings high, pop fly on the infield, ranging in on it and waving everybody else off in, making the catch. Is Danny Richardson. So we have a Danny Richardson here and a Hardy Richardson for Buffalo. And I have checked, there are some doppelgangers. So we're going to see King Kelly every once in a while playing against King Kelly, but we'll just pretend it's a King Kelly from Cleveland as opposed to a King Kelly from wherever. All right. And there's Legends Sports Universe. Guys, Legends putting up... I know hopefully you're all aware, he put up a video, the top 10 games, SFSBL, his Franchise Stars Baseball League, and Season 2 coming up sometime maybe around Labor Day or a week or so thereafter. So welcome in, Legends. Good to see you, man. Yeah, your Long Island team is off to a rough start. There's Bernard Strong. I can't believe it. 10 people watching 19th century baseball. It's amazing. It's kind of like watching a train wreck. And the guy I need in here is Ken Castro, and he's not here. This is really, because 19th century I'm conversant with it, but really my kind of baseball knowledge starts like, I shouldn't say 19th century, but 1894, 1893. These teams, oof. All right. Anyhow, here's the 2-0 delivery to Joe Hornig. Little comebacker to the mound, and up with it. But beating it out is Hornig. He has an infield hit, just beating Cannonball Tickham's throw by a gnat's eyelash. So Joe Hornig aboard and with an aggressive lead. You know he's going to run. Here's Davey Force, shortstop. Cannonball deals to Davey Force, and the runner goes, and they were looking pitch out, and Hornig is gunned down, dead to rights. So that was coming on the second pitch, or the first pitch of the ball game. So bases empty, 2 down. Davey Force back in the box. Cannonball Tickham with a 2-1 pitch to Davey Force. Force showing bunt, and misses. Count 2-2. Here it comes again. Force a swing and a miss, and that does it. So Buffalo manages a hit and then a caught stealing. We go to the bottom of the second, and we are scoreless here at the earliest polo grounds we could find. And as you guys can see, right, the big cutout isn't there, any of this up yet, but still this kind of trademark short left and right field porches at polo grounds, where of course some phenomenal baseball would be played until the Giants followed the Dodgers west. All right, Buck Ewing will lead it off here now. We've seen Ewing in a couple tournaments, including the Ned McGreevy League. Pud Galvin deals. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Ewing. Ewing swings, and this one, fly ball to medium right, and making the catch is Crowley, waving off Dave Egler in center field. So 1 up, 1 down. And here is Danny Richardson. Don't think he's any relation to third baseman Hardy Richardson here for Buffalo. Galvin winds, and the 1-0 to Danny Richardson. Richardson swings, and I mean, he gets his money worth on this one. Long fly ball left field, and this one is gone. And the New York Giants jumping out to a 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the second. That one gone 383 feet. Unless it's a really crazy play, I'm going to try to sort of avoid some of the super stats replay stuff. But anyhow, that was quite a smack. All right, here is Art Whitney now. Galvin has the sign from catcher John Clapp, and here's the 2-2 delivery to Whitney. Whitney swings, hard grounder to third, gloved, and the throw across the diamond by Hardy Richardson. And that will be 5-3, second out of the inning. And here is Gil Hatfield. Hatfield, shortstop for the New York Giants. Galvin deals. Hatfield cuts on this one. Ground ball, slow ground ball to second. But Fulmer making the play, and Hatfield is retired. 1 run, nobody left on. And the Giants, courtesy of a solo shot, leading this game 1-0 as we head to the Buffalo half of the third inning. Richard Davis, welcome in. So Texag says, yep, watch the top 10. Absolutely. Says got him fired up for the next season. We can't wait. We cannot wait. Richard, hopefully you're doing well. Good to see you in here tonight, and welcome to the 19th century, at least as close as we can get to it. All right, so here's Chuck Fulmer. I'm sorry I called him Chuck Fulmer. I must have been thinking of, I don't know what I was thinking of. Anyhow, here's Chuck Fulmer, second baseman for the Buffalo Bisons. Cannonball Tickham with the 0-1 pitch to Fulmer. Fulmer swings, and this one, fly ball routine to right field. And lighting a campfire and waiting for it to come down is Silent Mike Tiernan. 1 up, 1 down now for Dave Egler. And I know of Dave Egler, but I can't tell you much about his season stats or anything. I should probably, for these guys, maybe every once in a while, just bringing up their real life stats so that we can, as Richard Davis says, getting a nice history lesson for some of these guys. So I'm going to pick them out at random as we go. So for Dave Egler, he actually started his career in the National Association in 1871. His career spanned 1871. He then, let me see, did he go? Yep, so one of the first in the National League with Philadelphia. Played for Chicago for a little while, the Buffalo Bisons. Actually, he would finish with the Buffalo Bisons. Just looking his career totals right now, 30 triples, 85 stolen bases over an entire career. So I'm not going to look at fielding stats, anything, just to give you guys a general sense of when they played. All right, and who they played with. All right. Cannonball Tickham has 1 strikeout through 2 1/3. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Dave Egler. Egler swings, and this one, just a little flare over third base. As Art Whitney tries to make a play on it, but Dave Egler aboard. And here is pitcher Pud Galvin. Galvin, a spray hitter. Again, the Hall of Famers we won't talk about too much. Pud Galvin is a Hall of Famer. So try to get the guys that we don't usually hear about, or some that are very good, like Mike Tiernan we might talk about. Titcomb delivers, and the runner goes. This one, a good bunt down the third base line. The only play will be to first, and beating it out, tearing down the line, is Pud Galvin. How about it? Dave Egler moves to second. So Buffalo making some noise here with 1 out in the top of the third, and we're back at the top of the order on Hardy Richardson. Hardy Richardson in our Ned McGreevy League led in that league in home runs. So Richardson did have some pop in his bat. 0 for 1 today. Aaron Reed joining us here at the Polo Grounds for 19th Century Baseball. Carlos says he's finding himself reading up on players he's never heard anything about. Yep. That's one of the great things, how these games are great adjuncts to reading and researching on Baseball Reference and everything. And then the guys that go really super deep, like Steve Tate and Legends, for instance, they've got to even do a level of study deeper than we do, because they're doing, their stats and ratings and everything. So, but I think 19th century is largely uncharted territory for most of us, and I include myself in the most of us. All right. So 2-1, 1 out. Ducks on the pond for the Buffalo Bisons behind the Giants. 1-0 here in the top of the third. And Titcomb checks speed at second and at first. Here's the pitch. And the runners go. It's a double steal. The throw to third. The tag not in time. So buckle up. Nothing like a double steal. Ken Castro would have loved that. George Barkley. Sad story. A lot of sad stories from the 19th century, to be sure. Even the great Hall of Famer Michael King Kelly drank himself to death. Still, just so many sad stories. So the double steal puts Dave Egler at third, Pud Galvin at second, Hardy Richardson back in, Titcomb working out of the stretch. Here's the full count to Richardson. Richardson swing and a miss, and that was a huge strikeout for good old Cannonball. The lefty bringing it. And here's Bill Crowley. Crowley 0-for-1. So Buffalo has managed 3 hits off of Cannonball Titcomb. The southpaw from the stretch, the 3-2 pitch to Crowley. Crowley takes outside, ball 4. And if memory serves, in 1879, actually it should have been like ball 6 or something. All right. Bases are sold out with Bisons, 2 out, and John Clapp is going to do everything he can to get a safety to tie this game up. Clapp 0-for-1. You can see their pictures down there. And I think the guy that we have to thank for pictures, if you use real life photos in Action PC, or player photos in Action PC and Out of the Park Baseball, is Cheech, guy named Cheech, on the Out of the Park and Action PC forums. That's at least where I got my photo pack. So thanks to him. I don't know if he hangs around at all in the sports gaming community, but I'll send that out in the ether And there you go. All right. So, Cannonball ready to let it go. The 3-2 pitch again. Clap swings. High fly ball left field, but this should be out number 3. Indeed, as George Gore makes the grab. So, the Buffalo Bisons threaten and leave them loaded. Do not capitalize. We go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. It's the New York Giants 1 and the Buffalo Bisons nothing. And does he know Chong? That's a good question. That is a good question. Bernard, how's it going? When's your next broadcast? Oh, okay. So Texags, you ordered Rob Neyer's Big Book of Baseball Lineups. You will absolutely love it. I would also suggest, if you don't have it, there's another volume. There's another book, and it's even bigger. Nice big fat book. And the author is Tom Stone, who I should know that because not the same guy, but there's an excellent sleight of hand artist named Tom Stone from Sweden. But this book is called Now Taking the Field. And so he references Neyer and a bunch of other sort of all-time great roster makers, and then does his own. But the books complement themselves in the way that, sorry guys, I like when people talk books, that's like when people used to hold up puppies for Rube Waddell. So one of the really cool things that the Rob Neyer book does is when you go through for every year, for every team, you will get an all-time, like the lineup for that team every year, like who qualified, why they qualified. So he shows his methodology that way. The book is split up into the modern 30 franchises, and then there's a section of the book on the defunct franchises. So again, I'm talking about Rob Neyer's book, and Neyer's book, it's very, very dense too. Both of these books are. So Neyer's book weighs in at 340 pages. Excellent one. And Tom Stone's comes in at over 600. So just both great books. You can pick them up at eBay on the cheap. So I'll put it in the chat. So guys, Out of the Park Baseball, the sound will cut off for a second. As soon as you click away on Out of the Park Baseball, the sound goes out, which is just Windows stuff. So let me put this in here for you. And I think you're gonna. They're both good, and of course I misspelled taking like an idiot. What are you gonna do? All right, there we go. Boom. The Neyer book. Where the hell did I put it? There it is. So the way the Neyer book is written, just to give you an idea, you get like sort of all the players and highlights of them, the years they played and everything on each franchise, and then the actual text of the book, it would actually be on the outer margins of each page. And I mean, it's dense. It's just dense text. And then there's some pages of just straight up text, but these are both great books. Love them, and I mean, I'm sure maybe guys like Legends and Steve Tate might not find as much use for these books, but I'm guessing they probably have them anyhow. Great books. I absolutely love them. Great companions to things like Baseball Reference, and then of course books like Total Baseball, the Bill James Historical Abstract, what have you. But I know if I'm going to be doing this league, I've got to jump into David Nemec's. I have it sitting over here, the Great Encyclopedia of 19th Century Baseball, because not going to see Cousin Ken all the time here, I guess. All right, guys, thank you for letting me do the little book thing. And let's get back to action. So here is Cannonball Tickham back at the top of the order. George Gore and Mike Slattery. I will know these guys by about 10 games in, but Pud Galvin delivers full count on Tickham. And he swings, and this one line to left toward the foul line and at the wall, and making a nice grab there. And left field is Joe Horning. So 1 up, 1 down, and we're back at the top of the order for the New York Giants and George Gore. George Gore walked against Pud Galvin his last time up. Here's the 3-0 pitch. Gore draws the walk again. So the 2 walks issued by Pud Galvin, both to the Giant left fielder, and here's Mike Slattery. Nothing for one. Pud Galvin has the sign from catcher John Clapp. Here's the 0-1. And the runner goes. The throw down to second will not be in time. The tag. Davey Force with the sweep tag. But George Gore winning this race. And Davey Force, an excellent shortstop, by the way. I do know a bit about Davey Force. One of the premier shortstops of the 19th century. Mike Slattery now in the box. Back in the box, I should say. And again, at this time, Pud Galvin would not be on the mound. And although I will say comebacker back to the mound, but that's where we get our, when we say comebacker, and it'll say like through the box, it's because at one time it was a box 45 feet away from home plate, as opposed to a mound 60 feet 6 inches. So, and that was kind of a mistake. In the Ken Burns baseball documentary, if you go back and watch the first inning, I can't remember which historian it is, but he was talking about, you know, when the rules were laid down 90 feet between bases and stuff like that, right? Well, you know, and I think he's right about that, but he erroneously mentions 60 feet 6 inches, and that wasn't the case. Not quite in the time he was talking about 1870s, 1880s baseball. No mound yet either, but we're here to have fun, right? All right, here is the pitch. Oh, and we have a wild pitch, and George Gore is going to go to third. So John Clapp having to chase that one all the way to the backstop here, and a lot of room here at the Polo Grounds, by the way. So George Gore now at third. The Giants threatening their second run. Slattery back in, the 3-2. Slattery tries to hold up and draws the walk. So in the payoff pitch, Mike Slattery aboard, and here's Mike Tiernan, and I think these are going to be crazy games. Pud Galvin from the stretch, and there goes the runner, the throw down, the tag, and Mike Slattery picks up the steal, and that is one thing, just like dead ball, you're going to see a lot of stolen bases. All right, here's Mike Tiernan, and the 1-0. Grounded out his last time up, and Tiernan lines this one, and this is going to get down and bounce off the fence out there in right field. 2 Giant runs are going to come in, and Mike Tiernan will stop at second with a double, and the Giants now taking what looks to be a commanding 3-0 lead over the Buffalo Bisons. But do remember that the Bisons did load the bases up last time, but did nothing. Also, you're seeing a catcher wearing the tools of ignorance. That's something you wouldn't have seen yet, but at least I got the high socks on, everybody. All right, here's Roger Connor, nothing for one. Tiernan at second aggressively leads off the Keystone sack. Here's the 3-2 pitch, swing and a miss, and this one fastball inside and off the plate. Pud Galvin picks up his first strikeout of the game, 2 down. It's like a huge celebrity here. Everyone knows Michael Silva's work. Is that right? Yeah. Texags, if you look, I've seen now taking the field for a little bit less expensive than $18.95. That being said, the book is worth it. I think the original, let's just see really quickly again. There we go. Waving Stuff at Rue Boisdel. What are you going to do? So the original, oh yeah, so that was its original publication, but I'll tell you what. It's brilliant. It's worth it. It is worth it. Love the book. And again, you get nice depth charts with it. So the Stone book and the Nyer book really complement each other very, very well. So hope you like it. Like both of them. If you like the Nyer book, you will like the Stone book, definitely. All right. So Buck Ewing now in the box. And 2 down, runner at second. Giants plating 2 here in the third, 1 back in the second. Pud Galvin, 3-2 pitch. Ewing swings, and this one taking a weird hop going down to first, and they're not going to get him. They are not going to get him. So Buck Ewing picks up the infield hit. Moving to third is Mike Tiernan. Pud Galvin having a rough time against these Giants as Danny Richardson now in. Richardson with a solo home run back in the first inning, giving the Giants a 1-0 lead at that point. Pud Galvin from the stretch, and the 1-2 to Richardson. Richardson grounds to short. I forgot to turn off the organ. Oh, well, they go to second to retire the side, but the Giants, 2 runs, 2 hits, 2 left. When we go to the top of the 4th, it's the New York Giants 3, the Buffalo Bisons of 1879, nothing. All right, Texag's going to be ordered. Dan Burke, welcome in. So, yeah, at least not yet. But again, this is just opening day, so we shall see. Yeah, so the Oregon not introduced to ballparks, I think, till... I don't know the exact date of when, but something tells me that that's around like a 1930s thing. But I know you've given me something to look up. The only thing I hope is we don't get one of those, like, one of the walk-up music thing. Oh, my God. Because I do try to remember to shut that off when I'm doing these older years. But, hey, what the hell. All right. So, Oscar Walker leads it off, followed by Joe Horning and Davey Force. Oscar, grainy picture of him, probably the only one we can ever find. And the Southpaw Tipcomb, Cannonball Tipcomb with 2 strikeouts and a walk. All right, Buck Ewing would actually be standing way behind the plate, so not crouching. And in the 19th century, you wouldn't have like something that quite looked like this. It would be more... There was no home plate yet, actually, at this time. So this would have looked more like a base, so it would have been diamond-shaped. And the catcher probably would have been about 10 feet back, and at most knees slightly bent. So a lot of pitches would come in, and you'll see this a lot with Action PC Baseball, because if you play that pitch by pitch, it does take into account those rules, and you'll see something that we would call a strike that would be up around above the letters, or we would call a ball, would have been called a strike in the 19th century. In the 1870s, for a while, overhand pitching was illegal. You go back a little bit earlier baseball, and batters could actually call. A batter could call whether he wanted the pitch high or low, and could wait all day until he got the pitch that he wanted to hit. Balls and strikes would the count would change throughout the 1880s, and really it's 1893 that marks the beginning of modern baseball. But wanted to put something like this together, crazy, with Ken Castro, and I think it's going to be fun. All right, here we go. Here's the 1-2 pitch. And Oscar Walker sends this one to center field. Running in hard and making a diving catch is Mike Slattery. Great play in center field. And just when I say we're not going to use this on this one, we will. Exit velocity 99.4. This thing is sinking fast, and Slattery running hard and full body extension makes the catch. And he kind of looks 19th century there. That's cool. Hope you guys don't mind my editorial comments when I can come up with things like this. All right, here is Joe Horning, because you're all smart guys, but this is a learning experience for me to talk about it. It's a 1-for-1. All right, here's the pitch now. The 3-0 to Horning. Horning lays off this one outside, ball 4, and I forgot to do the high pants for Buffalo. Oh well, or high socks. Do that later. All right, runner aboard, and here comes Davey Force. And Davey, nothing for 1. Force with a chance to at least get 1 in. A base hit. Horning could score from first. All right, so Titcomb delivers, and the runner goes, and this one's going to be uncontested. Joe Horning picking up a stolen base, and that's his first steal of the season. So Buck Ewing unable to get a handle on the ball. Runner in scoring position, 1 down for Buffalo. Back in the box is Davey Force. Here's the 1-0 delivery, and Force sends this liner. Nope, it's going to stay up there long enough to fall into the glove of George Gore. So 2 down. The speedy Horning remains at second, and here's Chick Fulmer, nothing for 1. Cannonball deals, and this one just a little number to second base, gloving it, and plenty of time is Davey Richardson to make the play. So no run, no hits, just a walk for Buffalo. They leave one in scoring position with a stolen base. We go to the bottom of the 4th. The Giants holding on to a 3-0 lead. Pud Galvin pitching a 3-hitter right now. All right, here's Art Whitney now. Nothing for one. Galvin winds and deals. Here's the 1-0 delivery. Whitney sends this one right through the middle. Line drive, base hit. That's hit number 4 for the New York Giants. Whitney making the long turn at first and scampers back. All right, Gil Hatfield now in the box. See if he tries to bunt Whitney over. The 2-1. And he's swinging away. This one lined to second. And what a play by Chick Fulmer. Catching that bullet off the bat of Mr. Hatfield. I think Mr. Hatfield thought Mr. Fulmer was a McCoy in disguise. And here is Cannonball Titcomb now. One away. Whitney leads off first. Galvin to twirl. And the runner goes. Good bunt back to the box. Galvin up with it and tosses to first. And runner is out. And Art Whitney goes to second, but 2 down. And here's George Gore. Back at the top of the order. Gore's walked twice today. And this pitch gets away from Clapp. This is going to be a pass ball. And moving to third is Art Whitney on the play. So we haven't seen errors as such. We've seen a wild pitch, pass ball, a double steal. This has been fun, and even a home run. All right, the lefty Gore back in the box, and full count. George Gore swings. This should end the inning. A little slow roller to first, and up with it is Walker, firing on to Galvin, covering in first, and that retires the side. A runner left at third base. We go to the top of the 5th here at the Polo Grounds. And it's still the New York Giants 3 and the Buffalo Bisons nothing. Christopher Slovic. Until 1893, the count was kept a secret. Sports Time Machine, there's another excellent channel. Please subscribe to that one. Mike, how you doing? I'm really out of my element here the other way. 1870s, 1880s. So welcome in, Mike. Hopefully you're doing well. Haven't heard of it broadcasts. Maybe you're just not going as often as you did or what, but let us know in the chat when your next game is coming up, please. And I want to thank Chris Slovic again. Friday was an absolute blast. It was the Chris Slovic show literally for a while, as I had to take care of some things off mic for about a half hour or so. Hope to have him on again. We're talking about having these things on different people's channels, maybe once, twice a month, just to get together, have a good old gaming chinwag. Doesn't even have to be baseball. I suspended the F-ball rule even that day. All right, here we go. Dave Egler 1 for 1 in the game. Here's the 2-0 pitch. And Egler swings, and this one grounded deep to second, but making a nice play on it is Davey Richardson on to first baseman Roger Connor for the 4-3 putout. 1 up, 1 down now for pitcher Pud Galvin. He's 1 for 1 in the game. 2-2 pitch to Galvin. Galvin looks at a called strike 3, this one painting the inside corner. It's the 3rd strikeout for Cannonball, and we're back at the top of the order, and Hardy Richardson, who's a frustrated 0 for 2. 2 away here in the Buffalo 5th. Titcomb deals. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Richardson. Richardson swings. This one hard hit to center field, but this is a cavernous ballpark to say the least. Mike Slattery makes the catch. The Bisons go in order. We go to the bottom of the 5th, and it is still 3-0. So Mike Slattery, Mike Tiernan, and Roger Connor, the power for the New York Giants, due up. Slattery 0 for 1 for the center fielder. Pud Galvin ready to go. He twirls it. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Slattery swings and lined into center, base hit. So New York picking up its 5th base knock, and striding to the plate with a stick of ash is Mike Tiernan. Tiernan 1 for 2, and he has batted in 2 of the 3 Giants runs today. Galvin, full count. Tiernan looks at ball 4 outside. So 2 on for the Giants. Tough day here for Pud Galvin as Roger Connor steps in, and Connor with the power to put one out of this park. The 1-2 delivery. Connor swings, and this one a flare to right, twisting foul on the right-hand side, and dropping the ball out there in right field. Crowley And there's our first error of the game, but it took 5 innings to get it. So Bill Crowley dropping what should have been a sure out of Roger Connor. So the count goes to 1-2. Score that one E9. And the payoff pitch to Roger Connor. This one lined hard over first base into right field. And the throw to the plate. And this one is going to get by John Clapp and the New York Giants on the throwing error. How about it? So 2 errors in this game, both by Bill Crowley. Strong throw to the plate. Gets by John Clapp, and the New York Giants now leading this game 4-0. We'll just do a regular replay on that one. So he already misses a ball, and then the strong throw to the plate, and just right by the catcher. That hurts. That hurts. So he's gonna get. He's definitely gonna get some comments out there by the Polo Ground faithful. All right, here's Buck Ewing now, 2 in scoring position, nobody down, and the Giants threatening to run away with this game, and I may institute a mercy rule if this keeps going. All right, Pud Galvin from the stretch. Buck Ewing, an intentional walk. So a little bit of modern tactics there. Bases are loaded, nobody out, and here's Danny Richardson. He has a solo home run in this game. Pud Galvin with the 1-0. Danny Richardson swings, slow grounder to short, and the only play is going to be at first, and it's a throwing error. It's another error in the game. Somebody mentioned errors, and here they come. A Giant. So this one, a throwing error on Davey Force, and Mike Tiernan will come home, and so will Roger Connor, and it's 6-0. This is really bad. All right, nobody out. And Bernie, I know how you feel about blowouts, and so do I. I don't know how Buffalo comes back from this. So what we're going to do is we'll finish this one out, and then we're going to move ahead, chop ahead a few innings, because this isn't an era which too many of us are familiar with. So, all right. Galvin delivers. Whitney swings. Ground ball to third. Long throw across the diamond. And Walker pulling it in to retire Whitney. You got to remember, too, that these guys weren't wearing baseball gloves yet. So when I'm saying he's gloved it for the putout, just a figure of speech. Ewing at third, Richardson at second. Here's the pitch, and Hatfield gets the intentional walk. So here we go again. Bases loaded, and this one is just a mess. And here's Cannonball. So Pud Galvin needs to get a double play here. That's going to be kind of tough because Gil Hatfield has some decent speed at first. Compared to the other two guys, he's slow. But here's the 2-0 pitch. And Galvin sends this high into medium right field and down into the hands of Bill Crowley, owner of 2 of the 3 errors in this game. All right, 2 away, and we're back at the top of the order for New York and George Gore. Bases are still loaded. Pud Galvin looking to pitch himself out of this, but already 3 Giants runs in. Here's the pitch. Gore swings. This one, just a slow little roller to first, and side retired as Gore will run back and get ready to take the field. 3 runs in for New York, and it's 6-0. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to move this to the 7th inning. And now it's 8-0. I hate to do this, but got to have a mercy rule. It's 9-2, and let's just do entire game because I don't see any, as Robert would say, 9th inning magic. Oh my God! So the Bisons get destroyed. The Giants roll over the Bisons 10-2. The 1900 season is off to a good start for the 1888 Giants. This is normalized to 1900. The hometown Giants knocked off the 1879 Bisons 10-2 at the Polo Grounds. Cannonball Tickham paced his team to the win. Pardon me, guys. I'm sorry. The Giants got an important contribution from right fielder Mike Tiernan, who in the bottom of the 3rd punched a 1-1 sinker into right center for a 2-run double. It was his first double of the season and put the Giants ahead 3-0. And so McGonigal comes in, worked 3 innings. I mean, Galvin just got absolutely wrecked today. 6 of the 8 runs were earned. Let me see. Cannonball Titcomb, he fanned 5 and just 2 strikeouts, 1 each for Galvin and McGonigal. So, yikes. There we go. So very old time baseball makes its debut here, and wouldn't you know it, with no Ken Castro, it had to be a blowout. All right. Anyhow, moving along, let's see if we can get something a little bit more. Here's a great line. We're going to go to dead ball now. So, 2 great teams here matching up. 2 great pitchers, certainly 2 Hall of Famers. The 1913 Washington Senators against the 1916 Brooklyn Robins. They would not officially become the Dodgers until the 1930s. Johnson, in my estimation, is the most dominant pitcher ever in baseball. Look at his record and look at the teams he pitched for. Marquardt, Hall of Famer. Actually, best years of his career would be with the New York Giants, on the same pitching staff as Christy Mathewson. Marquardt, very, very intelligent man. Actually, so Rube was usually reserved for people who were, maybe the country, uneducated, what have you, like rural. Marquardt was from the city, became an attorney, so not sure why he was called Rube, but there we go. And Howie Shanks, people, are you ready for this? So, yeah, ask legends how good Johnson is. I'll ask legends. So, leading off in left field for the Washington Senators, none other than Howie Shanks. Batting second in right field, Frank Laporte. Batting third at first base, Chick Gandil. Batting fourth, center field, Clyde Milan. Batting fifth, catching Rip Williams. Batting sixth, third baseman Eddie Foster. Batting seventh at second base, Ray Morgan. Batting eighth, shortstop George McBride. And batting ninth, Walter Johnson. For the hometown Brooklyn Robins, leading off in center field, Jimmy Johnson. Batting second, first baseman Jake Dalbert. Batting third in left field, Hall of Famer Zach Wheat. Batting cleanup, the young professor Casey Stengel. So Stengel, gotta love old Casey, right? Batting fifth, second baseman George Cutshaw. Batting sixth, catching Lou McCarty. Batting seventh, shortstop Ivy Olson. Batting eighth, third baseman Mike Mowry. And pitching in batting ninth, Rube Marquard. All right, and let's get out to Ebbets Field, which in 1916 would be would be the 4th season for Ebbets. And I love the fact. I just love how Mike really, really looked at the advertising and everything like that. Again, later on this would all change. They did everything they could, right, to fill in this ballpark that occupied a city block. So later on, you would see the brass rail and things like that out here. But beautiful, beautiful work by Mike. All right, so Howie Shanks leads off. JT Dutch says, yep, they became the Dodgers in 1933 after being the robbers for Wilbert Robinson. Exactly. For decades after that, they were called a flock from time to time by newspapers as reference to the Robins. Yep. A bunch of names, so they were, unofficially came from the Trolley Dodgers. But yeah, they were the Robins, the Superbas. I think the Brooklyn team probably had more nicknames probably than any other baseball team in history. Speaking colloquial, at least. So Howie Shanks, to lead off here, gotta love Howie. Average contact, a little bit below average contact, a little bit below average power. Rube Marquard finishing his warm-up pitches, and as we go around the structure, financed by Charles Hercules Ebbets. This ballpark opened in 1913. Ground ball by Shanks to Cutshaw, who fires on to Jake Dalbert for out number 1. All right. Here's Frank Laporte. Those of you who played in the McGreevy League would probably remember him. He played for Robbie's team. Marquardt has the sign from Lou McCarty. So by this time, the catcher would be closer, but still wouldn't be into a full crouch. Not yet. The 3-2 pitch to Laporte. And Laporte may have dumped this one into right field, and indeed he will. So playing it on the hop is Casey Stengel, and speedy Frank Laporte aboard here for the Washington Senators, and that will bring up the infamous Chick Gandil. Gandil, excellent contact hitter. Laporte leading off first. Wouldn't be surprised to see Laporte going for second. Lou McCarty, not the strongest arm there behind the plate. The 1-0 pitch, and the runner does go, and Laporte has this one stolen uncontested. McCarty unable to get the ball out of the glove, and Laporte already, by the time McCarty is cocking or trying to get the ball out of the glove, Laporte is already 7/8 of the way to the Keystone sack. All right, Gandil back in. The 1-1 pitch to Chick. Gandil swings, liner to right field, and this will get down in front of Stengel. And Stengel's throw to the plate is offline and gets away from the catcher, so a run scores for the Washington Senators. So Gandil will pick up the single, and that will be a throwing error on Casey Stengel. So score that a single and E9. And in the top of the first, the Washington Senators of 1913 plate one. All right, here's Clyde Milan now, center field for the Washington Senators. Chick Gandil at second. We'll see Chick Gandil, of course. No, we won't. We won't see Chick Gandil because we put in the 1906 White Sox. So this should be the only time we see Chick Gandil is on this team. Marquardt with the 1-2 pitch. Clyde Milan, liner to right, and there we go. They're just feasting today. This one down in front of Stengel, and once again, it's a throwing error on Casey Stengel. So Chick Gandil scores, and Clyde Milan picks up a single, and it's an E9. So 2 errors in this game, both committed by Casey Stengel. 1 down, and here's Rip Williams. I love old baseball. Clyde Milan, excellent speed at second. Marquardt with the 0-1 delivery. And Williams, hey, a normally hit ball. This one grounded to short. Up with it is Olsen, and he fires onto Jake Daubert for the 6-3 putout. Moving to third in the play is Clyde Milan. So Casey Stengel out there has to be happy that the ball didn't come his way. So fielding it fine, but Case just, I don't know. Something on the ball that just says it's not going to get anywhere near the catcher. Rube Marquardt now ready to deal to Eddie Foster. Here's the 1-1 pitch. And what do we have? It's a, what? Wow, that's weird. It was a, okay, so drop the ball and then tag the batter for the third out. Okay, 2 runs, 3 hits, 2 errors by Casey Stengel. And it's the Washington Senators of 1913, 2. And the Brooklyn Robins of 1916 coming to bat. Walter Johnson finishing in his warm-up pitches to lead it off here for the Robins, center fielder Jimmy Johnson. A walk-off in the Little League World Series. Thanks for updating us on that, Texags. Appreciate it. I will catch it, Christopher. Yeah, and now we have dead ball. Yeah, it is amazing, right, that the still in use Fenway is older than Ebbets. And again, I mean, O'Malley tried everything he could. He's been so maligned for years and years and years and years. Robert Moses was the guy that really struck the death blow. Not that Ebbets could have stayed open. There was nothing more they could have done. Physical plant falling apart. There was no way to expand the ballpark. But yeah, all those years, Walter O'Malley blamed traitor, and yet it was a Manhattan bureaucrat that said, no, just build the ballpark in Queens. And Walter O'Malley said, well, he's Irish, but he's Italian. He would have said, Bafangustunad, and went west. All right, Walter Johnson to deal to Jimmy Johnson. Here is the 0-2 pitch. And the big train wasted no time. 3-pitch strikeout. So 1 down. And here's Jake Dalbert. And some of these guys we'll highlight as well. Jake Dalbert should be known to a lot of people, though. Johnson deals to Dalbert. The 1-1 pitch. Jake swings and scorches this one to left, running back on this ball over his head. He's not going to get it, so Walter Johnson picks up a strikeout. And on a 1-1 pitch, Jake Dalbert is tearing for 3, and he's got himself a triple. So 1 down, and the tying run comes to the plate, and Hall of Famer Zach Wheat, who does still hold some Dodgers records and still among the top 5, top 10. And I know JT Dutch knows about Zach Wheat. Great player. Did pretty good for Legends, as I think. He had a bit of a cool-off in part of the season, but Zach Wheat playing pretty steady. So, all right, Johnson from the stretch. Here's the 1-1. Zach Wheat will send this high fly ball center field. Back on the ball and making the grab is Clyde Millan, and he'll hit the cutoff man. And tagging and coming in to score is Jake Dalbert. And Brooklyn cuts the Washington lead in half. It is now 2-1. 2 away for Casey Stengel, who would certainly like to redeem himself here today in Brooklyn in front of the faithful. Walter Johnson with the 0-1 delivery to Stengel. Casey swings. This one grounder to short. And fielded McBride up with it, and he will fire onto first to retire Stengel. But the Brooklyn Robins pick up a run. We go to the top of the second inning. It's the Washington Senators 2 and the Brooklyn Robins 1. And we have Eddie Foster to lead off now against Rube Marquard. The 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Foster chasing that one out of the strike zone. Rube picks up his first strikeout, and really like the big windup they have there for him. Here's Ray Morgan now, second baseman for Washington. This is a very tough 1913 Senators team. Marquard and the 1-0 delivery to Ray Morgan. Ray Morgan swings. This one a little hopper back to second. Cutshaw over to Dalbert for the 4-3 putout. 2 up, 2 down now for shortstop George McBride. Marquard, the 1-2 pitch to McBride. McBride swings, liner to right, and this one gets down for a base hit. Here we go again. Stengel this time hits wisely, hits the cutoff man. So a 2-out double for George McBride, and that will bring up the big train. First at bat of the season. Marquard checks McBride from the high set, the 2-2 to the big train. Johnson, a swing and a miss, strike 3. Johnson was a good hitting pitcher. We'll probably see that as the season progresses. So a runner left in scoring position. We go to the bottom of the second. It's Washington 2, Brooklyn 1. George Cutshaw to lead it off here for the hometown. Brooklyn Robins. Walter Johnson ready to deal to Cutshaw. The wind and the pitch. Cutshaw grounder to second, taken on the room service bounce. Morgan up with it, firing on to Chick Gandil. So for the 4-3 put up, 1 up, 1 down. And here's catcher Lou McCarty. The 2-2 pitch from Walter Johnson. McCarty swings on this one, grounder to third. Fielded nicely by Eddie Foster, firing on to Gandil. 2 up, 2 down for Ivy Olson. Ivy Olson again, average contact, average power. Johnson with the 1-2 pitch to Olson. Olson swings, 2-hopper to short, and this one is booted by McBride. So there's an error. Here we go. George McBride picking up the error for Washington. It's first of 3 errors in the game. So these guys playing a little bit more cleanly than the 19th century teams we saw earlier. Yep, so there's even a Dodger fan telling us that, yep, history has proven that O'Malley was innocent. But think about how many Brooklyn fans went to their grave, not knowing, you can't blame them, but I mean, just right, thinking that it was O'Malley that sold them out. Christopher, oh my good news here, he says my 1902 Pittsburgh Pirates begin their semifinal round tonight in the Creators Cup. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to that. That 1902 Pirates, man, tough, tough. And Chris is he's a Bucco fan too, so it's got to make you happy as well, Christopher. All right, here we go. Number 8 hitter Mike Mowry now stepping in for the Brooklyn Robins. Ivy Olson, good speed at first. 2 down, 2-1. Washington lead in the bottom of the second. The big train with the 3-0, and it's a walk. All right. So speed on the base paths, and here's Rube Marquard, and he's making his first plate appearance of the season. Johnson with a 2-0. Marquard swings, fly ball center field, but camping under it, can of corn, Clyde Milan making the catch. So Brooklyn gets 2 base runners in the inning, but they do not capitalize. We go to the top of the 3rd inning here in Flatbush, and it's the Washington Senators 2 and the Brooklyn Robins 1. We're back at the top of the order now for Howie Shanks, followed by Frank Laporte and then Chick Gandil. Howie, nothing for 1. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Shanks takes outside, ball 4. So Shanks, good eye up there against Rube Marquard. And Shanks, pretty good speed at first. Here's Frank Laporte, 1 for 1 and a stolen base. Marquard with the pitch. Laporte swings, grounder to second. They will not turn 2. Hard slide. It's going to break up the double play. So Laporte on in the fielder's choice, and here comes Chick Gandil, 1 for 1 with a run batted in. Laporte aggressive lead off first. Marquard sets and delivers the 0-1 from the lefty. And this one grounded to third, and they are going to turn the 5-4-3 inning-ending double play, the pitcher's best friend. The Senators get nothing. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. Washington holding on to a 2-1 lead. Aaron Reed is here with us. As Aaron, he says that the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Buccos, have a 1-0 lead in his APA replay, the 1990 playoffs. Awesome. D. Scott Howard with us here tonight. We went from the 19th century to the dead ball era. Good to see you, D. Scott Howard, our animal whisperer. Back at the top of the order now for Brooklyn and Jimmy Johnson. Center fielder is nothing for 1. And in fact, the 1 strikeout by Walter Johnson was Jimmy Johnson to start this game. The 0-1 pitch from Johnson to Johnson. And Jimmy Johnson swings, grounder to short. Up with that one is George McBride, and he fires onto Chick Gandil for the 6-3 putout. So 1 up, 1 down now for Jake Daubert. First baseman, 1 for 1. Here's a player we can talk about for a minute. Let's look at Jake's real-life stats. So Daubert began his career with Brooklyn in 1910. He would play until 1924. And we'll just look at his career totals here just for a second. So Daubert finished his career with a .303 batting average. I mean, this guy was a pretty good player. 251 steals. Not a home run hitter. Again, played in the dead ball era. So 56 home runs for him. 722 lifetime runs batted in. 2,326 hits. So really a very, very, very good player. Close to Hall of Fame numbers. I mean, certainly a .303 average. But there we go. So a little bit about Jake Daubert. A name I know, but just an excellent player. Zach Wheat, Hall of Famer, waits on deck. Walter Johnson pitches with 1 out. Here's the 1-2 to Jake Daubert, who tripled his last time up, and swing and a miss in the big train. This time, picking up his 2nd strikeout, and here's Zach Wheat, RBI in this game. We'll give Zach some love because he's a forgotten Hall of Famer. So looking at Zach Wheat, so lifetime .317 hitter, 205 steals, 132 home runs, career hits, 2,884. This guy was a great player, just legitimately great player. Not one of those sort of, oh, he shouldn't, he's in the Hall of Fame, but maybe doesn't deserve it. Zach Wheat certainly did. Very much a franchise player for Brooklyn for many, many decades. His records held, and some still do today. Here's the 1-0. And Zach Wheat swings. High fly ball toward right center, converging out there. But is Clyde Milan calling off the right fielder? So Brooklyn goes 1-2-3. We go to the top of the fourth. It's 2-1. Tris Speaker still holds the major league record, not only for most lifetime doubles, but the only player in modern baseball history to have 3 separate 20-plus game hitting streaks. So some of these dead ballers still holding some crazy records. Sam Crawford, lifetime triples. That one will probably never be broken. 312 of those. All right, Clyde Milan will lead it off here for Washington in the top of the fourth. Rube Marquard has fanned 2 and walked 1. The 0-1 pitch coming to Milan from the lefty. Milan swings. And this one just a one-hopper to first. Jake Daubert will take it to the bag himself, waving off Marquard. 1 up, 1 down now for Rip Williams. Nothing for 1. Marquard into his motion, the delivery. And Williams showing bunt, and this one bunted right back to the mound. Marquard fires quickly onto Jake Daubert. So 2 quick up and 2 quick down. And here's Eddie Foster, nothing for 1. The 2-2 coming from Marquard. Foster, swing and a miss. And down go the Senators. In order, we go to the bottom of the fourth. And it's still 2-1. So tight ball game here. 3 errors between these two teams. 2 for Brooklyn, 1 for Washington. And Casey Stengel, nothing for 1. Stengel, 2, both of the Brooklyn errors belonging to Casey. Johnson deals to Stengel. Stengel swings, and this one grounded, and a diving stop at second base by Ray Morgan, but unable to get the transfer onto Chick Gandil at first, and credit Stengel with an infield single. George Cutshaw now, nothing for 1. Stengel leads off first. Johnson with a check of the runner. The 0-1 delivery. Cutshaw bunts this one foul. Count at 0-2. Johnson delivers. Cutshaw swinging away. Slow grounder to second, and it's going to be a throwing error. So Foster with a throwing error at third. Score that one E5. Second error now for the Washington Senators, and that allows Casey Stengel to not only move to second, but George Cutshaw to occupy first. So 2-1 now for Brooklyn. And I did say, yep, 2-1 for Brooklyn. So second error for the Washington Senators. And here is Lou McCarty, who is nothing for 1. Stengel at second, Cutshaw at first. Here's the pitch. And McCarty shows bunt, and he misses the count at 1-1. The big train deals. McCarty showing bunt again. And that is strike 2. The count 1-2. Cutshaw swings on this one. Bloop to right field. And down into the glove of Frank Laporte. So big out there for the Senators. Stengel and Cutshaw not advancing. And here comes Ivy Olson, nothing for 1. Johnson with a 2-1 delivery. Olson swings. And the drop third strike. This one a pass ball charged to Rip Williams, and the runners advance, and Ivy Olson gets another cut at Walter Johnson. So Casey Stengel at third, George Cutshaw at second. I'm sorry, that was not a strikeout. That was just your basic pass ball. The count now 2-2. Olson swings, and this one a little flare. This one will get down, base hit. Olson picking up the RBI, and Brooklyn Robins in the bottom of the fourth tie it up here thanks to the little bloop single there over the head of Ray Morgan by Ivy Olson. So runners at the corners now for the Brooklyn Robins, and coming to the plate now, digging in on the right-hand side, is third baseman Mike Mowry. Walter Johnson from the stretch, the 1-1. Mowry slaps this one to third, and this is going to be an E5. So Eddie Foster having some trouble out there at third. And The Brooklyn Robins, we're going to look at this play again. So third error by the Washington Senators. So that is an E5. George Cutshaw scores, and now Brooklyn taking the lead for the first time in this game, 3-2 over the 1913 Senators. Zach Wheat. Yeah, agree. Yep, of course, Hall of Famer. Jake Dalbert, Hall of Very Good. Yep. He's, 1919 Reds. Exactly. Smart folk in this community. All right, here's Rube Marquardt, nothing for one. One out. Walter Johnson will try to get the double play here. But we'll take the strikeout. And there's the throw down. Quick throw down to third. And they get the runner. So nice play there by Rip Williams. And Olsen is out of there. So 2 down. Walter Johnson, little doff of the cap there to his battery mate and to Eddie Foster, getting the quick tag. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Marquardt swings. This one a sinking liner to left field and a diving play by Howie Shanks. And because it's Howie Shanks, the Robins pick up 2 runs and now lead 3-2. But because it's Howie Shanks, we got to at least put him in the limelight once. So Howie coming in, and full extension for Howie. All right, top of the 5th. Brooklyn leads 3-2. Marquardt to face Ray Morgan, George McBride, and Walter Johnson. And again, a big tip of the cap to Mike Silva for this awesome-looking Ebbets Field. Walter Johnson had a 16.5 WAR in 1913. Regardless what you may think of that stat, that's an incredible number. Indeed, it was. And I mean that was this is actually a strong Senators team, and for so many years, Johnson pitching for. He might as well have had like a high school team behind him or something. No run support, and putting up ridiculous numbers. Which is why, I mean, not to take anything away from the other great pitchers, but, you look at guys like, Bob Gibson, Tom Seaver, Lefty Grove, Rube Waddell. I'm just naming guys from all over history, right? Most of these great pitchers, Christy Mathewson comes to mind, had great run support. Walter Johnson didn't have that. And the man was just an anomaly. And pitched into the Babe Ruth era. So... and was still superb. That 1924 World Series. Sheer guts. All right, McCarty sets the target for Rube Marquardt, the lefty, to deal to Ray Morgan, who is nothing for one. The 2-2 delivery, and Morgan swings. This one grounded to second, and up with it is Cutshaw, and he will fire onto Jake Dalbert for the 4-3 putout. 1-1 down. And here's George McBride. He is 1-for-1 against Rube. Here's the pitch. McBride cuts on the first pitch. This one coming in and measuring it and making the catch is Casey Stengel. Stengel very happy didn't have to make a throw. So 2 down now for Walter Johnson, who is nothing for one. Marquardt with the 1-0 delivery to the big train. Johnson swings. Routine hopper to first, and taking it to the bag himself is Jake Dalbert. No runs, hits, or errors. No one left. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Brooklyn 3, Washington 2. Back at the top of the order for the Robins, Jimmy Johnson, Jake Dalbert, and Zach Wheat. Jimmy Johnson, nothing for 2. Walter Johnson has fanned 2, struck out 1. Not a strong performance by Walter Johnson by any stretch of the imagination. Johnson deals. Jimmy Johnson swings. This one routine grounder to second base. And that will be a Ray Morgan to Chick Gando. 4-3 put out. 1 up, 1 out, down. And here's Jake Dalbert now. Bats in the second slot for Brooklyn. He's 1 for 2. Walter Johnson twirls the 3-1. Dalbert cuts on this one. Fastball into center field. Base hit. So Brooklyn picks up its 4th hit. These teams tied in hits now at 4 apiece. And here is Zach Wheat, an RBI in this game. Nothing for 1. Johnson with the 2-2. The runner goes, the throw down, and they got him dead to rights. So Rip Williams cuts down, fires it down, and George McBride with the tag. And now 2 away. Zach Wheat back in there. Here's the full count. Payoff pitch. Wheat swings, and this one lined to the gap and right. This one almost hits the Abe Stark sign. Had to hit it on a fly to win. But anyhow, digging for third and a strong throw from right field. And this one is over. So the Brooklyn Robins threaten but do not score. A little bit of greedy base running here. Let's look at this one again. So Zach Wheat getting a little excited here. This one, so close to winning a suit. So close to winning a suit. Actually, it looked like it might have hit on the fly. And what a strong throw. So there you go. So Frank Laporte making the great outfield assist. We go to the top of the 6th inning here. JT saying that in 1913, the Senators finished with a 90-win-64 record with 1 tie. Walter Johnson starting, they were 39-8. With anyone else, they were 51-56. That's insane. That is just absolutely insane, right? 39-8 when Johnson starts. God. Probably his best season among, like, just unreal seasons. I don't think we're ever going to see a pitcher that just, I don't know. Big Train, I think, probably such an apt nickname for him. All right. And again, not to take anything away from the other great pitchers in baseball. Certainly not. All right, here's Howie Shanks. Nothing for 1, but made a great play in left field for these Washington Senators. Marquard with 3 strikeouts and a walk through 5. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Shanks. And Howie, little bouncer back to Marquard to the mound. Marquard having trouble finding the handle, and Howie Shanks picks up the infield hit. So here we go. Washington picking up its 5th hit. So these teams keeping pace with one another in terms of base knock. 3-2 is the score. Good ball game. 2 Hall of Fame pitchers facing off. Marquard now to face Frank Laporte with that great outfield assist. And the top half, or the bottom half of the last inning. And 1 for 2. Howie Shanks leads off first. Here's the pitch. This one bunted in the air toward third, and Mike Mowry makes the catch, and Howie Shanks needs to get back to first quickly. Mowry with a little double pump almost doubles off Howie Shanks. So 1 down, and here's Chick Gandil with an RBI. He's 1 for 2. Shanks goes. Here's the throw down, and Howie Shanks is dead to rights. So McCarty is 2 for 3, cutting down base stealers. So 2 out, bases empty. Howie Shanks will go back and think about how well MV and Steve Tate's teams are doing in bashing each other up. Gandil back in the box. The 0-1 delivery to Gandil. And he swings, and diving stop at second, but could not hold on to the ball. George Cutshaw making a nice play there, though. So Gandil with the infield hit. That gets by Cutshaw. That is an easy double, if not more, for Gandil with his speed. All right, here is the center fielder, Clyde Milan. He's 1 for 2 with a run batted in. Gandil. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Check swing, the throw down, and Gandil is gunned down. McCarty now 3 for 4, cutting down would-be base pilferers. 2 base runners in the inning, both caught stealing. So the Senators do not capitalize. Instead, get a little greedy. We go to the bottom of the 6th, and it's 3-2. Walter Johnson will face Casey Stengel to lead it off. Stengel 1 for 2. Johnson deals to Casey. Stengel slings. This one, fly ball to right, ranging to his right, and in just a bit is Frank Laporte calling off Clyde Milan to make the out. So one away here on that fly out to right, and here's George Cutshaw, nothing for two. Walter Johnson working quickly to him. Cutshaw aboard thanks to an error. This time, just bunts it down the first base line, and the little lateral onto first to Gando. Throwing over to Morgan is just late, and they're going to give George Cutshaw the infield hit. So might this be a chance for Brooklyn to break this open? We'll see. 3-2. Cutshaw with good speed at first. Here is Lou McCarty, who's gunning him down today, but nothing for two at the dish. Johnson checks the speedy Cutshaw at first. Here's the 2-2 delivery. McCarty sends this one deep to second. Diving stop. Great play by Ray Morgan. Saving possible runs scored there. So Cutshaw will have to stop at second on that play. So Ray Morgan flashing a little bit of leather out there, the Keystone Sacker. And here comes Ivy Olson now. Olson 1 for 2, a run batted in. 2 down here for the Brooklyn Robins. 3-2 lead. Johnson delivers. And Olson will take outside. Ball 4, JT Dutch, about 10 miles up the road from where he lives, a city named Fullerton. One of the cities where he works. Walter Johnson went to high school there. Passed by his high school every night I worked. That is awesome. That is awesome. The big train, man. All right. Here's Mike Mowry. Here's a rough-looking dude. Look at this guy, huh? Yep. He's not going to win any praise uglier than I am. All right. Anyhow, Mowry has an RBI. If he's listed up there from heaven, Mike, you know, just taking the piss a little bit, as we say. All right, Whoop Williams sets the target for the big train. The 0-2 pitch to Mowry. Mowry swings, and this should end the inning. Little grounder to short. Up with it is McBride, and he will throw into second. Side retired. So the Brooklyn Robins strand 2, and we head to the 7th inning. It's the Brooklyn Robins 3, the Washington Senators 2. Marquard will face the number 4, 5, 6 hitters. So due up first here is Clyde Milan. He is 1 for 2 with a run batted in. Marquard, the lefty, the 0-2 pitch to Milan. Milan swings, hard grounder to short. Easy enough play for George Cutshaw, who fires on again to Jake Dalbert. So the 4-3 put out. 1 up, 1 down for Rip Williams. The catcher, nothing for 2 against Marquard. The southpaw into his wind, and the pitch to Rip Williams, who rips this one center field, and this will get down for a base hit. So Rip rips it to center, and here comes Eddie Foster. So a chance here for Washington to tie it up here in the visitors' half of the 7th at Ebbets. Eddie, nothing for 2. Marquard checks the runner. Here's the delivery. Foster swings. This one grounded up to third, and on the pivot, it's a 5-4-3 double play, and Washington is turned away. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and the double play, nobody left on. We go to the middle of the 7th, and the score is 3-2. I'm going to go off mic here for a second. And we're back. All right, here is Rube Marquard. And they would have sung Take Me Out to the Ball Game, by the way, both of these teams. Marquard to lead it off and back at the top of the order, and Jimmy Johnson and Jake Daubert for the Robins here in the bottom of the 7th. Walter Johnson with the 2-2 delivery now. Marquard swings, little chopping ball to short, and George McBride fires on to Chick Gandil for the 6-3 putout. So 1 away here, and we're back at the top of the order for Brooklyn. Jimmy Johnson wearing the collar, nothing for 3. The 2-2 pitch. Jimmy Johnson swings. This one grounded deep to short. Hesitating on the throw a little bit, but George McBride able to get out of the glove and get it to Chick Gandil in time to retire And Jimmy Johnson for out number 2. First baseman Jake Daubert having a pretty good day at the plate. He is 2 for 3, batting with 2 down. The lefty stands in against Walter. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Daubert singled his last time up. This one, a slow roller to second. Daubert tearing down the line, but good play there by Ray Morgan to retire the side. We go to the 8th. Tight ball game here. Brooklyn edging Washington 3-2. The line for the Brooklyn Robins 3-6-2 for the Washington Senators 2-7-3. Ray Morgan, George McBride, and Walter Johnson due to bat. Marquard has hung up 3 Ks and has issued 1 free pass. Marquard pitching very, very efficiently. 76 pitches in this game. That's it. Marquard with the 2-0 delivery to Ray Morgan. Morgan swings, hard ground ball to second. Getting it on the shallow grass up there is George Cutshaw, and over to Jake Daubert. So 1 up, 1 down now. Carlos Yaz, I know you showed before, but this camera angle, I would like, I can't see the outfielders of the stadium. Oh, this, yeah. So, I set up, like, I've spent like a couple weeks just getting these ballparks to where I want them. I'd like to be down low in the field, but, so our good friend Chris Slovic will, like, actually have the camera almost down at field level. It's a little harder for me to follow plays that way, but yeah, this is just basically doing a little tilting and messing around, and just what I do, Carlos, for these is once I find something that I like, I will just name it, since the first default is overhead camera, and I will just after I go into the ballpark editor, I'll save the camera angle I like and just save it as overhead, and then that usually solves it for me. But yeah, this is a nice one, especially for these dead ballparks, with the exception being Baker Bowl. Most of these are large ballparks, so I like to have something a little bit more open. Oh, okay, here we go. So, World's Worst Gamer has a trivia question here for the chat. So he's telling me, since you're playing a season where home runs are not the focus, I thought this might be a good trivia question. Absolutely. He wants to know, who was the last team to win a World Series without having a 20 home run hitter in a full 162 game schedule? And JT Dutch is going to guess the 1926 Cardinals. So Cardinals is the very first time they went to the dance and won. And, of course, the rest is history with the Cardinals. A little bit late to the dance in the original 16, but most world championships in the National League, they're second only to the Yankees. Pretty amazing, huh? So we'll see. No, it is not the 26 Cardinals. Well, it wouldn't be. Okay, so yeah, it couldn't be anyhow, because he said a 162 game season. So it's going to be a relatively recent team then, if we're talking 162 game schedule, right? But yeah, Carlos, for you, maybe just jiggle it down a little bit, and then you should be able to see all your outfielders then. All right, here's George McBride. Yeah, JT said he missed that part about the schedule. No, I mean, I would have thought. I mean, good guess. Certainly a good guess. 65 Dodgers. Next guess. Anybody else? Anybody else? Bueller. All right, Marquard to deal now. Here's the 1-0 to George McBride. McBride swings and wraps this one to center field. This one, however, will come down into the glove of Jimmy Johnson. So Jimmy Johnson going back on that. Had to cover a little bit of distance here, but McBride not quite cashing in on that one. Here's Walter Johnson. Nothing for 2. Marquard with the 0-1 to Johnson. Johnson swings, and I said earlier he was a good hitting pitcher. And this one, oh, what a play out there in center field by Jimmy Johnson. The Senators go 1-2-3. Walter Johnson gives it a ride, but Jimmy Johnson with a great catch in center field, and that one deserves another look. This one 101.3 off the bat of Walter Johnson. And great sliding catch out there. Jimmy Johnson doing his job out there. He will get an extra draft tonight, as I'm sure Uncle Wilbert Robinson is quite pleased with his center fielder today. All right. Zach Wheat, Casey Stengel, and George Cutshaw for the Robins here in the bottom of the 8th. When we go to the Washington 9th, we will see the number 1, 2, 3 hitters, Howie Shanks, Frank Laporte, and Chick Gandil. Zach Wheat, 1 for 2 with a run batted in. Walter Johnson has struck out 2 and walked 2 through 7. World's Worst Gamer. So Bernie guessing the 2003 Florida Marlins, and the answer is, and I guess not too surprising, the 1982 Cardinals. I mean, known much more for their speed. Makes sense. And he says, thanks for playing. All right, Walter Johnson to do to Zach Wheat. Here's the 0-1 delivery. And Zach Wheat, hard grounder to first. And taking it to the bag himself is Chick Gandil. So 1 up, 1 down. Here's Casey Stengel. Stengel wanted to be a dentist, ended up being in the Hall of Fame as a manager, and not a bad player either, Casey Stengel. All right, Johnson deals now. Here's the 1-2 to Stengel. Stengel, strike 3. So Walter Johnson hangs up K number 3, and here's George Cutshaw now. 1 for 3 for the Brooklyn second baseman. Walter Johnson into his wind, and the 1-0 to Cutshaw, singled in this game. And this one, a weird bouncer back to the mound, and Johnson, once he gets a handle on it, gets the throw off, but Cutshaw picking up the infield single. 7th hit for Brooklyn. So again, these teams tied in hits. And here's Lou McCarty, 0 for 3. Cutshaw leads off first. Johnson deals. McCarty swings. Grounder to second, diving stop at second, up with it. Ray Morgan making a nice play that retires the side. We go to the 9th. Washington, 3 chances to try to tie this up. And it will be Howie Shanks, Frank Laporte, and Chick Gandil. Shanks 1 for 2. And again, made that great play in left field. So Shanks making a good showing here today. Marquardt deals to Shanks. Shanks swings in the first pitch. This one fouled toward the stands on the right-hand side, giving chase, and gloving it for out number 1 is Jake Dalbert. So here's a little weird thing about out-of-the-park baseball that I will let you guys know. So if you're playing at-bat mode, like we usually do in our baseball sims, if there's a foul ball, it's either going to be caught or dropped in an error, right? It's not going to make the seats. If you play in pitch-by-pitch mode, however, foul balls can make it into the seats. So just a little bit of a little quirk in this game. All right, 1 out now, and here's Frank Laporte. You remember Laporte had that great outfield assist earlier in this game. Marquardt, the wind, and the 1-0 delivery. Laporte swings, and this one lofted to shallowish left, and making the catch is Zach Wheat, waving off Jimmy Johnson, 2 down, and it's down to Chick Gandil to try to get on and tie this game up for Washington. Washington held the lead in this game until the bottom of the 4th, when Brooklyn took the 3-2 lead, and it's been zeros ever since. Washington's 2 runs came in the top of the 1st. Marquardt to work now to Chick Gandil, who's 2 for 3, and a run batted in. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Gandil. Gandil swings, high fly ball, right field, running hard in toward his right, and in a bit is Casey Stengel, and makes a nice catch, and that should take care of those errors by Casey. All right, let us look at this, and then we'll call it a night. The Robins hope opening day win bodes well for the season. Fans of the Brooklyn Robins packed the stands for the home opener, rewarded with a Brooklyn win over the visiting Washington Senators 3-2. Rube Marquardt started for the home team against Walter Johnson. Marquardt earned accolades for his performance. An impactful at-bat came in the bottom of the 4th inning with runners on 1st and 3rd. Mike Mowry reached on an error by the second baseman, driving in a run, and made the score 3-2. Brooklyn, and they never looked back. What I would love to see, these recaps are great that are generated by Out of the Park Baseball. What I'd love to see, player of the game, by the way, Rube Marquard. What I'd love to see in a future edition is if they could use AI to try to create these recaps to kind of match the more florid prose of the day. I think that would be absolutely brilliant. Of course, you can edit recaps in this, but I would love to see them use a kind of chat GPT sort of AI running in the background. Um, Anyhow, that's pretty much it. Rather unremarkable game. Walter Johnson loses his first. Rube Marquard wins his first, and we are done. And I think I'm not going to play out any more games because I'd like to get Ken Castro in here. We've got a good some other night. So White Sox, Red Sox. It's going to be the 1906 White Sox against the 1916 Red Sox. It's going to be Ed Walsh versus Dutch Leonard. Definitely got to play that one out. Probably Athletics, Cubs, Chief Bender, Lefty Tyler. I think we'll just quick play that one now. Cubs 1-0 over the Athletics. So Tyler gets the win. Bender takes the loss. I just like to look for good pitching matchups when I can. We're not going to worry about any 19th century till Ken Castro gets back. All right, guys, thank you very much for coming in and tolerating some 19th century baseball, which, as you guys know, we just had to stop that game. Yep, the hitless wonders. And you're welcome, Texags. Yeah, you will definitely see that. Yep, I'm sure Howie Shanks would have never even thought of that. So, guys, thank you very, very much for coming in. It's really, really gratifying you hung out with me, and we got to go where few have gone before, I guess. All right, good night, JT. Carlos, you're welcome. Thank you. Bernie, thank you. Looking forward to some more broadcasts from you. I'm going to close this down and catch up on some broadcasts from you other guys. So thank you to Bernie Strom, JT Dutch, Carlos Yaz, Tex Ags, Christopher Slovic, D. Scott Howard, Aaron Reed. Aaron, this week we will do another game and have you on, that 1990 that we're doing. Dan Burke, thank you. Dan in here a while ago with us. Really, really appreciate you, Dan. Richard Davis, I'm sorry, was in here with us. Michael Silva, who came into great accolades. Todd B. So I missed Todd B. I'm so sorry. Good God. So he says, just put this in perspective. 1879 Buffalo. This was 2 years before Billy the Kid was shot down by Pat Garrett. Right? Excellent. And Carlos Yaz once again wins another Robbie Wartburg bobblehead doll. All right, guys. Till next time, I'm not going to do the long ending. I appreciate you all very much and see you around the batting cage. Good night. Oh, and I forgot Legend Sports Universe was here too. Good night.